back from Ghostbusters 3. Answer the call.
Well, it's not Ghostbusters 3. Although I think...
Technically is the third movie.
Well, it is the third movie, but it's a reboot. It's a reboot remake. Kind of the second Ghostbusters remake. Because this Ghostbusters 2 is kind of a remake, too. This movie...
I guess that I thought two of them are remakes and one's the original.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, one.
This movie has the internet divided. If I come out and say, "Oh my God, this is a great movie," you know, okay, so I should talk about it. It has the internet divided, and there were tons of production issues with this movie. But it is a solid director. Like I said in my Ghostbusters 2 review, which I'll have an annotation for at the end of this video. This isn't a complete train wreck. It's not particularly good either. There was quite a bit of moments where I chuckled. Not really anything hilarious, but quite a bit of moments where I chuckled. Not really anything quotable like the first movie. One thing I think is funny, so whoever cut the trailers, what the heck were they doing? It's like they took like every trailer moment in this movie, except for the two I pointed out in my Ghostbusters 2 review, didn't work. But then around those moments, there'd be lots of chuckles. It's like they cut the laughs out of the trailers. I don't know what their plan was with that, but what were you doing? These are my initial thoughts. Why don't you say what you think, honey?
I liked it. I thought that it was really funny. I kind of think of it as kind of like a Ghostbuster, kind of like a little Ghostbuster love story.
No, really?
Yeah,
because of all the callbacks. They do a lot of callbacks.
What are callbacks?
Yeah, you know, what's the word they usually do? Easter eggs.
What Easter eggs? There was no Easter eggs.
There's lots of things in this movie that are referencing the first movie, like all over the place. Maybe a bit too many. Like,
what I mean is that at the end it seemed like a love story.
I like how they brought back. I kind of like how they brought back all the surviving primary cast of the first two movies, except Rick Moranis, who's retired. At the same time, it felt like overkill. I felt like with just like every once they introduce Bill Murray, who's the first cameo you get, it feels like they're just popping up all over the place, and it feels excessive. Annie Potts, Sigourney Weaver, and Dan Aykroyd didn't really have roles. Ernie Hudson. Now I think about Ernie Hudson had a role, but he was probably the shortest cameo of them all.
Favorite characters.
But I do kind of get your love story thing. You want to do favorite characters?
Yes, favorite characters. I like favorite characters.
Okay, who's your favorite character?
Aaron.
Yeah, one thing I do like that they did was, essentially, Leslie Jones is taking on the Ernie Hudson role, essentially gender swapped. Kate McKinnon's taking on the Harold Ramis role, gender swapped. However, for Peter Venkman and Ray Stantz, they kind of merged those roles and kind of divide them up differently. So those tributes are actually divided up amongst Kristen Wiig and Melissa McCarthy. So, it doesn't feel like carbon copies. Kind of more the wackiness goes to Melissa McCarthy, whereas more of the being more the scientist goes to Kristen Wiig. She's also really, if I had to pick one, she'd be the lead of the four. Whereas in the original, it would be Bill Murray. Peter Venkman. As for my favorite character, I kind of like Kate McKinnon. McCrimmon? What?
I don't know who that is.
She's really quirky. She's
Can you just say
Holtzman? Is that it? Holtzman?
Yeah, it's Holtzman.
What's her first name?
I don't really know. We just call her Holtzman.
Yeah, they call her Holtzman a lot. Yeah, she was fun. I mean, she was goofy, but she was fun. That is something I noticed. This movie's not as funny as the original Ghostbusters, but the universe they're in is actually much sillier. Interesting contrast. God, I'm really not sure if I'd recommend this.
I'd like to say something.
Yeah?
I think that the Slimer died of starvation.
Oh, God, the Slimer cameo and then the female. That was...
I think
those are rough patches for me. I thought that was dreadful.
They both died of starvation.
That was dreadful.
I think that they both died of starvation.
We'll definitely do some spoiler.
Because they won't stop eating.
We'll definitely do some spoiler talk here. So there's definitely things I want to get into that are kind of spoilery.
I'd like to get into the spoilers.
But wait, before we do, post-credit scene. So stay till the very end. There is a post-credit scene. It's not great, but you definitely see where they're going with it. Interesting fun fact. There's actually some of the mid-credit scene in the trailers. Whoever cut these trailers, what are you doing, man? Was there anything else I wanted to say? Oh, yeah, I haven't said if I recommend this or not. I guess if you watch the trailers and they don't completely shut you down from it, you're probably fine here. If you watch the trailers and you just are like, oh my God, it's the worst thing I've ever seen, I can't handle it, you're not going to like it. Because, yeah. I didn't hate the trailers, but they were kind of...
I like the trailers.
Yeah. Even though the trailers are like the worst part, I guess they do represent the film, except maybe like a couple notches down.
Are we going to get into spoilers?
Yes, we will. Spoiler. I want to take back that thing about saying the trailers represent the movie. But yeah, we'll get into spoilers, because they don't really that well. Okay, spoiler. What's your big spoiler?
Well, when I saw the trailer, I thought that the big guy was a big angry St. Plus Marshmallow Man. But then I found out that it was actually that Reitman took the body.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm getting really deep in here.
Yeah.
Well, Reitman took the body of... He actually turned...
Rowan.
Rowan turned himself into their logo and made himself big and monstrous.
Mm-hmm.
And also turned the no part of it into a bow tie.
Yeah. Okay, here's the big spoiler thing that I hated. Also of note, if you've seen the plot leak, that's pretty much it. Of course, I've always found, even if you hear the plot leak, it doesn't give you storytelling. And storytelling, despite all the arguments I get into people, storytelling counts more than story, because every story's been told. It's how you tell it. And storytelling here is actually fine. It's nothing amazing, but it's fine. Oh yes, the big spoiler that I hated. Not Melissa McCarthy. Kristen Wiig, the Aaron Gilbert character, essentially, as far as I can tell, kills Bill Murray in this. Martin Harris or whatever. What the hell? I mean, she didn't do it on purpose, but it's like she releases the ghost grabs him, hauls him out of the building violently, and then we never see him again. All we see is them going out the window going, oh! Is he dead?
I don't think we're going to
That kind of needs to be established, because if he's dead, that's insane. And why would you do that? Because I also feel like, you said it's a love letter, and in a lot of ways it is. But if you kill off, excuse the car background noise, but if you kill off Bill Murray, the lead in the other Ghostbusters movies, it's also spitting in the eye of the franchise. Oh my God.
Keep the spit out my eye.
Yeah.
Keep it out. Keep it out.
Okay, so that's one of the big negatives of this. Holy crap. This one had real potential. It does feel a lot like a remake, especially the first half. The second half definitely has elements, like we have a giant walking around the city again for the third time.
Yep.
We have a giant portal that needs destroyed again. We have the solution to closing the giant portal being something that you don't do again.
I just kind of thought that that it kind of turned the more deeper you get into it, it becomes more and more like a love story.
Oh yeah, no, I definitely get what you're saying. How there's lots of throwbacks to the first one, and it's treated outside of the Bill Murray thing, which I thought was hugely disrespectful. I mean, massively so. I mean, holy crap. Outside of that, they were actually pretty, respectful to the originals. I do think it might have been better if they tried, instead of wasting those cameos on new characters, maybe working this into the original Ghostbusters universe.
Yeah, but...
And then we could have all the actors doing cameos as the Ghostbusters.
Dad, I've got bad news.
What?
One of the actors died, remember?
Oh, I know. They would have to work that into it, too. He was one of the main guys, too, because he helped write the first two. He was the co-writer on them and co-creator. So it's sad.
Yeah, it is sad.
Harold Ramis. Oh, God, such a talented guy. So, God, I'm really feeling more negative on this, thinking more on the Bill Murray thing, because that's, ugh. Yeah, if you saw the plot leak, there's the dance scene, and apparently the director, I heard stories about the director being really upset with how the dance scene turned out, and it's actually cut out of this movie and put into the credits scene, which probably plays out better, because when I heard about the dance scene, all I could think was, oh my God, that sounds... Of course, they pretty much cut it out, so that's for the best, clearly. But you still get to see it if you want to, so it's just not part of the movie proper. Any other final thoughts?
I'd just like to say, if they were going to kind of like do it like the original Ghostbusters, pretty much, how would you get the actor's voice into the main into that character?
Oh, you couldn't have that character.
Okay.
It's 30 years later. You'd have to say he passed on or something. But I also feel like they're talking about building a Ghostbusters cinematic universe.
Oh, or they could say that he retired.
Yeah. Well, like I said, they're talking about building this Ghostbusters cinematic universe. I think it'd be better to maybe say, there has been any ghost activity since the second one. Maybe they aren't in New York, so there's less people who actually believe it. You can get away with that. New York, I think you can't really get away with that because there's too much that happened in New York and the other two. But if you go, to Los Angeles, you could get away with that. And then, you have them... Because here the ghosts are being created by this guy. Well, they aren't being created, but they're being let loose by this guy. So we have this guy letting out ghosts, and these... And then we have the Aaron Gilbert and Abby Yates, who believe the original reports of the ghost from New York, and they're trying to build up and they're investigating this, and they're making weapons similar but not identical to the original Ghostbusters. And I get why the director's like, I want them to create the weapons themselves. I don't want them following somebody else's footsteps. To a degree, I agree. But
a degree you agree?
The only way you can't do that is if you make your own franchise. You can't. They are following in somebody else's footsteps. They just aren't in the movie proper.
I meant you mean like in the original movie's footsteps?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, try to get
So yeah, I guess if the trailers turned you... we already passed this point, but yeah. Final thought. If the trailers completely turned you off and shut you down, you're not going to enjoy this. If the trailers you thought were just kind of you'll probably get a few chuckles out of this.
Actually, I thought that the trailer...
She liked the trailers.
Yes, I loved it.
But, that's all I have to say. You have any final thoughts?
They really tricked me with the big Ghostbusters idol. I thought that it was the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man.
Yeah. Well, they have the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man balloon in there.
Yeah. That's why I got confused.
Yeah. Well, bye. Hey, if you like this video, please make sure to hit that like button and go ahead and subscribe. That helps me out a lot. And if you really love this video, consider visiting my Patreon page.